Hello, welcome to the Football Fan Show for the first time in about, goodness, couple of years, something like that. A couple of months. When was the last time we did this? Quite a few while ago. I'm Danny Harrington, and joining me is Tom Moore, a good mate of mine, and we're here to talk about football. Hence the name of the show. Believe it or not. Are you ready to talk football, Tom? He's already. He's always ready to talk about football. And for some reason, there we go. We couldn't hear you for some reason. I don't know why. But we can now hear you, hopefully. Yeah. Say hello. There we go. I don't know why we couldn't hear you. But anyway.
That's all right. Everyone else would feel a bit happier if they couldn't.
I don't know why. I appreciate your company. So it's all good. All good. Right. Whilst that sorts, loads of technicals that I can't explain because some bastard company called Microsoft got rid of Skype basically, and it completely fucked us over. So yeah, it's interesting. So if I switch that to no audio, you're coming through that channel, and we're all good.
Yeah, I do miss the days of good old Skype. Everything's on Teams now, and Teams hardly works in itself. So
yeah, I know, right? Mm-hmm.
I just want to point out, obviously, I'm here in a very, very good mood today.
Oh yes, show off the Arsenal jersey.
The wonderful third kit from Arsenal, available on Arsenal Shop Direct for £84.99.
84 quid for a freaking Arsenal shirt. I've seen. Can you not get the retro one?
Dan's gone silent too, so clearly people have gotten fed up with him.
Oh bollocks! What have I done?
Mainly Microsoft.
What have I done? You can hear me on stream, but I can't. What have I done?
You see, he's badmouth Microsoft, and now they've pulled the plug on his audio.
You can't hear me. That's what it is. Bear with me.
Several lasers being pointed through my window. Dan, it was lovely knowing you.
There we go. That was my fault. You can hear me now. They could hear me on stream. They couldn't. I couldn't hear you. You couldn't hear me. So it's. We blame Microsoft. Blaming Microsoft. But yes.
Stop it, mate. I can already hear the sound of a helicopter.
Oh God. Yeah. Let's not do that. Right. What are we talking about? We've got a full show for you. I'm going to apologize for wearing a polka dot t-shirt. It is a Tour de France t-shirt. I don't just like itsy bitsy teeny weeny polka dot bikinis like the old song used to go, which is was covered by Timmy Mallet. If you don't know who that is, then you know what a treat for you. I've met him. He's all right. Bit of a has-been. Bit of a has-been. That's all I can say for that. All I'm trying to do now is just because I've got Tom coming through my headphones twice, and it's not going out on stream. It's just going through my. You know what? I'll just deal with it. So let's analyze some of the games then. We'll go through all the scores as we normally do. By the way, the phone line is there, but it's not open, so you can't call us. Due to the technical problems that we've had putting up the first stream. The phone line's not open, so don't bother. Or you can leave us a voicemail message, in which case I'll get to it like 2 days from now.
Feel free to leave a comment.
Yeah. Drop a comment. So let's start with the more surprising result of the day, the lunchtime kickoff. Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Where the fuck did that come from? Considering, I think we should get into our title favourites and relegation, but we'll do that afterwards. The current results do not affect my title favourites because my title favourites were Manchester City. I still think Manchester City are going to win. But how the hell has Tottenham beaten Man City? I'll hold my hands up. Did not watch this game. My social battery is run dry, so I had to sleep. But Johnson and who is it? Polinia with the goals, and Richarlison with the setup. I heard Richarlison, they were going to offload him And then there was this player that they were going to bring in called Eze from Crystal Palace. I don't know if you've heard of him. As an Arsenal fan, I don't know if you've heard of him, but they were going to bring Eze in and then offload Richarlison. For some reason, they're not offloading Richarlison anymore. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, Tom? Something to do with him turning up at Arsenal, like Lex Luger on WCW.
Yes, absolutely. It's a subject that I am very, very happy to discuss with a certain degree of smugness. I think, I think, I imagine a phone call from Steve Parish to Eze saying, "Lad, it's Spurs," and then all of a sudden he decided he wanted to stop off at the Emirates. I imagine Eberechi Eze was looking for what team could bring him Champions League football, and then Arsenal come calling, and that was it. You know, even Tottenham have been singing all summer, "Champions of Europe, we know what we are." But even as champions of Europe, they don't even have the same pull as the Arsenal. So, I mean, it was going to happen. Eze's an Arsenal fan. He came through the Hareland Academy.
Yeah, I was going to say he left the academy, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's wanted Arsenal for years, and I think I think the full circle moment was, you know, really, really good. I don't think I think presented with that choice, I think, yeah, it was always going to be Arsenal. I don't think Spurs have that same pull. I think Spurs are still only in like maybe phase 2 or 3 of their redevelopment. I mean, they showed some really, really good, they had a really good performance today. You could tell that they've got a structure and a style of play under Thomas Frank. Sarr looks like he's going to be that engine in the midfield to bring the team forward, but also press as well. I was a bit baffled when I read to say that Spurs were going to use Richarlison as a make weight to get this deal done, and it was surprising to me because, you know, Richarlison had scored 2 very good goals in the opening weekend. So
yeah,
especially after Thomas Frank comes out and says that Richarlison is going to be his at number 9, and then all of a sudden it's a make weight. So I'm not sure if Thomas Frank had much of a say in that, or if it was
I guarantee
a Daniel Levy.
No.
Yeah, it sounded like a Daniel Levy decision, but
and
as we've known it.
I was going to say, this is why they haven't signed Eze, because Daniel Levy being and he won't appreciate this, which is why I'm going to say it, wheeler dealer, is like, yeah, what pennies can we save on the pound here? What pennies can we save? And then he's just like dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and going, oh, we could save a penny there. And because he's done that, and he's always been like that, and Tottenham fans would admit that he's like that, Arsenal have come swooping in and gone, here you go, what do you want? That bang, done. And then Tottenham are just like, oh, what happened? What? Where's our player? And then it's just like, well, Arsenal swooped in and signed him whilst you were trying to save pennies instead of giving the guy what he wanted.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think Daniel Levy, I could. Do you know what? I've very little sympathy as an Arsenal fan. I have very little sympathy for Spurs fans, but I think when you've got an owner like Daniel Levy,
I have sympathy for Spurs fans because of Daniel Levy.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think, you know, for a long time Arsenal were that team where they were, you know, every single fan was getting on the owner's case saying we need to spend money, and I think Tottenham are firmly in that phase now, so I can understand the frustration from Tottenham fans. But to be fair, like they've got the basis of a very good squad. I think it does lack some serious depth. You know, because, you know, if Brennan Johnson goes down injured, who have they got on that left-hand side? If Kudus goes down injured, who have they got on the right? You know, Mickey van der Ven missed out on quite a few games last season, and they had a bit of, you know, their defense was held together by Staples and Pritzstick. You know, it was not a pretty sight, some of their defending. That Archie Gray as well, having to put in a shift at centre back, and he's about the height of one of my legs almost. So, you know, it was tough on Spurs, but I think, you know, now they've got a good foundation. They've got a manager that has, you know, a strong philosophy and good principles in terms of the way they want to play the game. You know, it looks like Spurs can go back to playing with a bit of identity.
I just want to say hi to Rooster. Roaster. It's spelt roaster. ROWSTR2. He's red and white, so I'm assuming Arsenal fan. But he says hi ho
Good
silver
man.
lining. So yeah, I think he's an Arsenal fan. So I think he's very happy with the result today, and probably much delighted with the new signing as well. Oh no, Bristol City fan. He's a Bristol City fan, which means he's
terrible.
no. Okay. I admit we're both Swindon Town fans, but I will give Bristol City credit. They have the greatest chant in football, which is I can't read, I can't write, but that don't really matter because I'm a Bristol City fan and I can drive a tractor, which is the greatest chant ever since Lionel John Lewis was playing. And his name is a shop. His name is a shop. Lionel John Lewis. His name is a shop.
That is my all-time favourite football chant.
But I do like the Bristol City chants. They're great. I think they're great fun. But yeah, I think it's. Oh! Now you can piss off with your. Yeah. Fuck off.
Is he promoting his anti-Swindon agenda? Is
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's all right. That's fine. Swindon will have their day.
Well.
So.
Anyway, back to.
I was thinking earlier. I was thinking to this earlier. Like, it's the second season in a row where Tottenham have done a number on Man City at the Etihad. You know, I could just imagine the team talk at half time with Thomas Frank just going, "Lads, it's Man City." Because at this point, it's like the way Tottenham play at the Etihad. Like the Etihad at the moment seems to be Tottenham's Airbnb at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, the Etihad is Tottenham's second home. Whereas obviously they've got the giant cock they got the giant gold cock back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
The rooster, yes.
Yeah, and then they've got the giant cock at the Etihad, but he prefers to be called Pep.
Manchester City nails Tottenham Hotspur 2. I will say this: Thomas Frank will make them a very technical side. By the way, if you abuse anybody, you will be immediately fucking banned. By the way, I'm just gonna say that right now. You're gonna be immediately fucking banned. I don't want to hear any shit about any fucking negative shit. If you talk shit about Swindon Town, I'm gonna fucking ban you. If you're a Bristol City fan, for instance, and you say you're fucking staying down, don't fucking bother. You're in the fucking championship. It's not the kind of atmosphere. Okay, I could get it from a Bristol Rovers fan, but you're in the championship. Who fucking cares? You shouldn't care about us. We haven't played you in fucking years, just like I don't personally care about playing Reading, because we've never played them in fucking years, apart from in the EFL Trophy last season. But who gives a shit about the Mickey Mouse Cup? I like Reading. I didn't want them to go out of business. I don't understand these football fans that are just so loyal to one team that they want all their arch rivals to die. I don't get it. Yeah. Speaks to the mentality of certain football fans. I don't understand it, but you know, I wish no harm to Bristol City. I want them. To be honest, I'd like them to have gotten into the Premier League. I think it would be interesting from a neutral perspective. Although the only team from the West, unless you count Bournemouth, that have been in the Premier League is still Swindon Town. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0 in the Premier League as well. Bournemouth are probably just going to finish mid-table, and I think Wolves are in real trouble this season. Tavernier with the goal on the 4th minute, and a red card for Totti Gomez as well. A red card for him. So
yeah, I think, to be honest, I think Wolves have been dancing with danger for the last couple of years now, and I think this is going to be their time where they're probably going to end up being sent down. To be honest, I think it's not that they've recruited badly. I think they've obviously let some really key players go. Like I think they've had their team pulled apart a little bit. Obviously, Ait-Nouri going to Man City because obviously because I didn't know if you knew this. Interested that so. Ryan Ait-Nouri actually had the highest number of goal involvements of any defender in the Premier League last season. So obviously he's going to be a huge miss for Wolves. Nelson Semedo's obviously left in the summer as well. I think he left as a free agent. So I think it's going to be interesting for Wolves. I think they already play a 5 at the back with already a holding midfielder in João Gomez, but I think they're their struggle is not going to be not keeping the goals out, but putting the ball in the back of the net. In their game against Man City, they had 3 really good opportunities one time, and the ball was in the net, and all of them were offside. So I think they're going to seriously struggle with getting the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, yeah. They're one of my. I'll get to my relegation peeps in a bit, and I think they might be one of the clubs that I can't really decide 3 clubs that will go down. I think I've got about 5 in my head, and West Ham wasn't one of them. And West Ham look like they're going to be one of them. Brentford have beaten Aston Villa by a 1-0, which is surprising because Brentford are one of my favourites to go down, considering it only takes one bad transfer window, and they've had a terrible one. So
pretty much. West Ham they had a terrible time last night. Great goal by Paquetá, but honestly, like shipping 5 goals in the way they did, honestly, like this is the most trouble a Potter has been in since Voldemort.
I keep seeing that meme. All over the place.
It is a fantastic one.
Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0. I'm surprised by that. I'm honestly surprised. I genuinely thought Brentford would go down without a whimper. Speaking of surprising, Burnley 2, Sunderland 0. Now, I've got Sunderland to stay up, but I've got Burnley to go down. Based on the fact that they always do it, and I don't think Scott Parker's a very good Premier League manager. He's a very good Championship manager.
Yeah. I think Burnley's going to be that token yo-yo team that's always going to be...
Yeah, like West Brom back in the day.
Yeah, West Brom back in the day, yeah. Your West Brom, your Stoke, I would say Southampton, but the point of a yo-yo is that it comes back up in the
end. Cullen and Anthony with the goals for Burnley. Burnley 2, Sunderland 0 in the end.
Yeah.
And we must talk about it. I'll let you take the lead on this one. Arsenal 5, Leeds United 0 in the evening kickoff in the Premier League. I know you've kind of given me your thoughts already, but assess the game for me.
I mean, my personal assessment is that I'm still moist from it. But I think it was a game where people were going to expect an Arsenal win. I think it was the ideal game for Victor Gyökeres to find his shooting boots. Arsenal could adapt their play around him a little bit against, arguably lesser opposition. It was the sort of perfect confidence builder game for Arsenal before they play Liverpool next Sunday. I think Arsenal controlled the game pretty much. I don't think David Raya was tested much apart from the first opportunity that Leeds had from Strauch. I think after that it was pretty much a formality. Once one goal went in, the rest just flowed through. Obviously Arsenal got plenty to be positive about. Obviously Victor Gyökeres scoring 2, which I think makes him the joint highest scorer in the league at the moment. But I'm positive, but I'm realistic. We'll see if that remains true by the end of the season. Max Dowman got his first run out, making him the second youngest player to make his Premier League debut, just behind Ethan Nwaneri. I think Arsenal obviously are going to have concerns about the fact that obviously both Saka and Odegaard were forced off with injuries. Odegaard took a tumble and bashed his shoulder, so hopefully it's a bit of a knock. Saka's probably going to be a bit more of a longer-term absentee because it seems to be the issue with the hamstring, the same one that he had surgery on earlier this year. I can't really pick apart any part of the performance. I don't think Leeds put up much of anything, to be fair. They were sitting quite deep. They pressed in parts, but the press was handled really well. I don't think they had a shot in the second half, to be fair. Not even off target or a wild swing. It was a game that was expected to win. It was good because you got multiple players getting different runouts. Trossard, Madueke. You saw the change in Madueke as soon as he was able to move on the left-hand side. As soon as he was in his favoured position, he started to cook a little bit more. People started playing in Gyökeres. Zubimendi, for me, has been the signing of the summer. I think Zubimendi is probably one of the tidiest midfield players that I've ever seen. Because he is the maestro and everyone else is just dancing to his tune. So I think 51 million for that man is an absolute bargain. I can't think of a chant at the moment which incorporates Zubimendi's name and saying we got him half price. But yeah, as an Arsenal fan, fantastic result. Worried about Odegaard and Saka, but feeling very positive going into the game next weekend. I think we'll see. We'll see what Liverpool's attitude is going to be like in their game. I think, is it tomorrow or Monday?
We'll go through the fixtures at the end of the stream, but
That's fine. That's fine.
Let me just double. Well, yeah, we'll go through the fixtures at the at the end of the stream. Yeah, so Arsenal 5, Leeds United 0. Leeds United in trouble. Oh, you've disappeared for some reason. It's gone blank. There you go. You're back.
No,
You're back in the room.
Yeah.
You're back in the room. Right, let's go through some of the other scores. Championship, let's drop down. Charlton Athletic 0, Leicester City 1, Hull City 0, Blackburn Rovers 3, and Swansea City 1, Watford 1. What do you make of Sky Sports Plus? Do you have it, or do you not use it?
I don't have it. No, I think it's because I watch all my games through the app on the phone. I don't have Sky TV. So it's so yeah, I get what's ever being broadcast out on the main channel.
Fair enough.
So I never really pay that much close attention to it.
Fair enough. Rest of the scores then: Birmingham City 1, Oxford United 0. Birmingham City 1, Oxford United 0. Yay! You know what? I had a go earlier at the Bristol City fan for taking the piss out of Swindon, but maybe I shouldn't do that. Coventry City 7, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Now Coventry City had a great day because they announced that they'd purchase the Coventry Building Society Arena, the stadium that had never actually been owned by them since it was built in 2005, and they moved there. And they've now bought it from Mike Ashley's Fraser's Group. And you might think, well, why did Fraser's Group own the stadium? Well, they bought it from London Wasps, the rugby team, who had gone under, with the intention of Mike Ashley buying Coventry City. Now, as we all know, Mike Ashley did not succeed in buying Coventry City, so they owned a football stadium for no reason whatsoever. And they've sold it to Coventry City. So now, if the Coventry City owner wants to sell it, it's a much more attractive package with that 30-odd thousand stadium as well. So,
yeah,
and they packed it out and they won 7-1 against Queen's Park Rangers. So, good day.
So it's been a really good day. I think Coventry City fans would be absolutely buzzing because for a long time, obviously they were, they were playing tenant at Birmingham's ground for a bit.
Yeah, they were at Northampton. They were at St Andrews, as you say.
Yeah, they were essentially a lodger. They were a lodger football club.
Yeah, the pandemic years, they were there at St Andrews and playing in an empty stadium. Yeah, it was a strange time.
And I think any Coventry City fan will be absolutely happy. We're absolutely, over the moon to, knowing that their club's got a bit of stability. They've got a physical asset. That's what makes the club worth a lot more. So it makes the owner a lot happy and a lot more happier. And they've obviously, they've used that boost, that positive energy they've had today, and generated 7 goals out of it. I think. Queen's Park Rangers are probably going to be in some serious trouble this season. I think they may be a candidate for League One next season. But I think Coventry definitely. They put 7 goals in for. I think that's the first time they've ever done that. So clearly they've made some renovations and made the goals a little bit bigger. So
yeah, just today, as soon as they got the leasehold, as soon as they got the leasehold on the land, bang! Coventry City Football Club, the owners of the Coventry Building Society Arena, and Doug King is the owner of Coventry, so he'll be. Yeah. I think he's well liked, although he wasn't particularly well liked after sacking Mark Robbins. But it looks like appointing Frank Lampard might just turn out to be a stroke of genius. Yeah. Where else were we? Norwich City 1, Middlesbrough 2, Preston North End 1, Ipswich Town 0, Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1. Sheffield United struggling this year. In the relegation zone of the Championship, they were alongside Wrexham, but that might have changed. We'll get to that in a bit. Southampton 1, Stoke City 2, West Bromwich Albion 1, Portsmouth 1, and Wrexham failed to win again in the league. They were 2-0 up, I believe, in this match, and were pegged back to draw with the bankrupt Sheffield Wednesday. Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Come on, you Owls. Come on.
That's I mean, Sheffield Wednesday versus basically the Hollywood, the Hollywood team of the Football League. That's the first time I've ever seen a riches to rags story being built on a football pitch. I think, you're watching a team that's being, basically whose transfer policy is based on Deadpool box office draws, and then a club who's probably not even got money to buy new draws for their players.
That's true.
Honestly, that's a baffling thing there. Sheffield Wednesday, interesting enough, I think who was it? Barry Bannon, who's the one that stuck at it, even though he's probably not been paid. Even though I think he's probably
he got sent off in their opening game, didn't he? Yeah, he got sent off against Leicester.
Yeah, he's I think he's their highest earner as well, about £24,000 a week.
Yeah, but he's stuck with them. He's their captain, I believe, as well. So he's incredibly loyal, and he's shown the test of time. We've got more good news stories. Not that we're talking about the Wrexham Sheffield Wednesday result as good news stories. I'm more referring to Coventry City. League One, Luton Town 0, Cardiff City 1. Battle of the two teams that are looking at promotion from that division. Luton Town have had 2 miserable seasons, relegated from the Premier League and then relegated from the Championship as well. So not going well for Luton Town, although they are rolling in money because they didn't spend that much when they were in the Premier League. They were wise because it's now going to go on their King Power Court Stadium, or Power Court Stadium. I think I can't remember what part of. I know what part of Luton it's being built in because it's right in the town centre, but it's like King Power Court or King's Court or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be an impressive stadium.
That's going to be bloody confusing with that stuff.
I know. Well, I don't think that'll be the name of the stadium. It's just the land that is called that. I think it's Power Court or something like that. Rotherham United 2, Wigan Athletic 2, AFC Wimbledon 2, Barnsley 0, Bolton Wanderers 1, Lincoln City 1, Huddersfield Town 1, Stevenage 0, Mansfield Town 4, Leyton Orient 1, Northampton Town 2, Exeter City 0, Peterborough United 1, Bradford City 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, Blackpool 0, Port Vale 0, Doncaster Rovers 1, Stockport County 2, Burton Albion 1, and Wycombe Wanderers 2, Reading 2. That one's a local derby as well for Reading. Yeah, a derby on the other side of things. Wycombe Wanderers 2, Reading 2. League 2, Newport County 1, MK Dons 2, Walsall 1, Salford City 0, Accrington Stanley, who are they exactly? 1, Grimsby Town 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Cambridge United 0. Cheltenham Town continue to be the worst team in the EFL at the moment. Statistically, you can't argue that. They're bottom of the EFL. Cheltenham Town 0, Barnet 1. Back-to-back victories for Barnet. Who did they beat midweek? Let's not talk about it. Colchester United 0, Barrow 2. Crawley Town 0, Tranmere Rovers 2. They're in real trouble, Crawley Town. Fleetwood Town 1, Oldham Athletic 1. Gillingham 1, Crewe Alexandra 0. Harrogate Town 1, Chesterfield 2. Notts County 2, Bromley 2. And we finish off with Swindon Town 2, Shrewsbury Town 1. I once asked a Shrewsbury fan how you pronounce the town, and they said, "Are you trying to get me cancelled?" That was their actual response. I can't say that. I can't tell you how it's pronounced. It's like the entire town disagrees with itself. Shrewsbury Town, 2-1 defeat to Swindon Town. I will just say, get well soon, Harry Smith. He's picked up an ACL injury. Probably like the way I was. To peek behind the curtain, I was sat in the press conference with Ian Holloway, and he wasn't happy. The mood was foul. He was pretty miserable, which it was my first press conference, so I hadn't seen him like that, but he was pretty miffed. National League, our second good news story of the day. Morecambe are back, yay! And they have won by 2-1 against Altrincham as well. Punjab Warriors are the new owners there, and they've saved it. The club, which has been a focal point of the channel on YouTube, we've talked about it. And they got rid of Derek Adams, the manager, which was somewhat controversial considering he'd been working there for free, basically. But then they appointed Ashfir Singh Johal, who is a former Wigan Athletic, Leicester City academy coach. He's coached with Como, with Cesc Fabregas even, and Notts County. He has quite the he's got quite the resume, so he should do well there. And he's, I mean, if you care, he is the first. He's the first Sikh manager in English football as well.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be a thing, but but it is a thing. It shouldn't be a thing, but yeah.
He'll do well. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a thing in the terms of that it shouldn't have taken this long, but it's something absolutely to be celebrated. And I think there's an air of positivity and relief around Morecambe, which obviously they want to make sure that they make the most of while they can, because for a long time it thought like Morecambe FC was going to cease to exist. There were fans trying to tap up Tyson Fury to get to buy the club, and I think he probably didn't have any. He definitely didn't have any interest in doing so.
No.
It's everyone loves a good comeback story. Being brought back from the brink, and it's fortunate to see the positive side of one of these scenarios, because obviously we've seen so many times, a couple in recent memory where things haven't worked out and people have and clubs end up getting expelled from the league, obviously with Macclesfield and Bury. So it's nice. It's nice to see one of these scenarios with a much more positive and much happier outcome. And well, obviously the proof is in the pudding. Obviously, they'll want to see investment in the club. There's always that new owner, new manager, whatever you want to call it, bounce with new clubs. So Morecambe's managed to generate a result today. I think it was their first game this season.
Yeah, because they've been suspended from the league. So 2 games into the National League season, they're just playing their first game.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. I'm glad that Morecambe, after the long wait, they've managed to generate a positive result. They've got the new manager. Hopefully, see a little bit more investment. And yeah, good luck to them, I say.
Yeah, good luck to them, and glad that the situation finally got resolved. Elsewhere in the National League, Brackley Town 2, Rochdale 1, Braintree Town 1, Yeovil Town 0, Eastleigh 2, Boston United 0, Gateshead getting a 2-1 win against Tamworth. Halifax Town lost at the Shea. Halifax Town 1, Forest Green Rovers 2. Forest Green going top of the National League. Hartlepool United, I know. Hartlepool United 3. I know Forest Green fans, I always joke with them. Hartlepool United 3, Woking 0. Solihull Moors 1, Aldershot Town 5. Sutton United 2, Scunthorpe United 3. Truro City 0, Southend United 1, and Wealdstone 0, Carlisle United 1. Mark Hughes, manager of Carlisle United, formerly, of course, managing the likes of Robinho in the Premier League, and now he's managing in the National League. Anyone got? I'm not a Carlisle United fan. I don't know who plays for him, but yeah, how the mighty have fallen.
My partner's grandparents are from Carlisle, so obviously they're big fans of Carlisle United.
Yes,
so, but we don't discuss football with them. I mean, they're grandparents, so mainly what the Daily Mail have written recently is what I can usually discuss with them.
To Scotland, to things north of the border. Celtic 3, Livingston 0. We had 2 match postponements. Dundee United, Aberdeen postponed on Falkirk and Hibernian as well. Hearts 3, Motherwell 3. She's fine, thank you, by the way. Kilmarnock 0, Dundee 0. Sorry, it's just a terrible joke, isn't it? I didn't even do my Fleetwood Town joke of find the nearest Fleetwood fan and tell them lies, tell them sweet little lies, because they drew 1-1, but I didn't even do that. And I couldn't do my Middlesbrough joke because they weren't playing at the Riverside. Scottish Championship 1-1 between Airdrieonians and Queen's Park. Greenock Morton 2, Ayr United 2, Ross County 1, Partick Thistle 3, St Johnstone 3, Arbroath 0. Scottish League 1, Alloa Athletic 1, Hamilton Academical 0, East 5-2, Kelty Hearts 1. That is my favourite team name. To say say it in a Scottish accent is freaking legendary. Kelty Hearts. Kelty Hearts, yeah. Montrose 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 2, Peterhead 3, Cove Rangers 1, Stenhouse Muir 0, Queen of the South 0. Annan into League 2. Annan Athletic 3, Dumbarton 4, Elgin City 2, Edinburgh City 4, Spartans 1, Forfar Athletic 0, Stirling Albion 2, East Kilbride 3, Stranraer 1, Clyde 1. So that ends our look at the scores for today. And I've got to bring up the talking points because I can't remember what I fucking said I would talk about. So there we go. Let's go. Actually, let's do our placements in the Premier League. So promotion, relegation, you pick.
What, promotion from the Premier League?
No. What promotion? I mean, top 4 or relegation. I mean,
cool. So
which do you want to start?
We'll start with relegation because
right.
I feel like I'm going to have a lot more to say about the top 4. So relegation, I would say my 3 candidates are going to be Burnley.
Yep.
I will also say Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then I will also say Sunderland.
Okay. I was going to go for Brentford. Brentford, Burnley. And then I couldn't really decide who would get that 3rd place because I think Sunderland will stay up.
I mean, Sunderland have definitely invested in a way that makes you think they're going to stay up. Obviously,
they're a very physical side, and I think they've brought in enough. So I think it's a toss-up between Leeds and Wolves.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to change it. I think Sunderland may scrape away. I think, given recent form, I think West Ham. I think West Ham, unless they see some significant improvement. I mean, they've lost their Maverick, they've lost their Dynamo and Kudus. I think the shape they're playing makes absolutely no sense. I think they've not got an out-and-out goal scorer. They missed the goals that Mikel Antonio would have brought them. Mikel Antonio, even if he didn't get any goals, he was an engine. He would press. He would do the one-man press. His link-up play was great. He'd hold up the play, and obviously that's not something that Nicholas Fulkrug can provide. Jarrod Bowen's being played as a second striker when he's better coming in from the left-hand side. So I think there needs to be a massive shake-up in recruitment in the days that remain of the window. I mean, I was going through social media and seeing some of the comments that were being put down. Say, people want Sullivan out of their club. Someone saying that we don't want to be. Someone actually went as far as to say, put your hand into your pocket and buy somebody, you evil porn peddling midget.
No.
So, and that was just my grandfather after I give him a few.
Yeah.
So I think West Ham are in serious trouble. I don't think they've recruited well. They've got very, very. I think they've got. The thing is, Graham Potter's not a bad manager. I think he's got very little to work with to try and make a team that will compete. I think West Ham are in danger of going down this season.
And I think what Graham Potter was brought in for is to get them back into like the Conference League to challenge for European trophies again. Like they definitely want to, win that competition again, and that's probably where they saw that as a starting point. And that ain't gonna happen anymore.
No, I think if we were taking odds or taking bets on the first manager to be sacked this season, it's probably going to be Graham Potter.
See, I don't think that's. I still think Amorim. I still think Ruben Amorim's going to get the chop. I maintain what I said last season. Good manager, wrong job, wrong appointment for that particular situation.
I think Ruben Amorim, he's been given money to spend, and obviously he's got players in, and last weekend Man United did look really, really good in attack. So I think they're going to give him a lot more rope now in order to try and generate a performance. I think Man United have got all the skills and the abilities, and I think they've got the depth now to obviously try and achieve something in ultimately a season now, which is 60 games a season. And there's, they've got, they haven't got European football. So obviously they can focus more on domestic competitions where, more of the squads in Europe may want to look to rotate their squads across cup games. Man United don't have that distraction of having to keep players fresh for Europe. So I think Man United, I think it'll be a bad season for Man United if they don't at least make a good go of it or make it to a final or something like that. I I think the owners will give Ruben Amorim time to build the squad that he wants. With with the players that they've brought in. Um, I don't think. Look at Eric Ten Hag. Things were going south real quick, really fast for Ten Hag after he came in, and it took them so long to make the decision to sack him, and it was going to be a will they or won't they. I myself, I was sitting there thinking that fuck it, like Anarim was going to have to sleep with one of the Glazers' wives just for them to think, all right, he's maybe a bit of a dick.
Yeah. It was a strange time, but I still don't think Amarim's the right person for that particular gig. I just good manager, wrong job. I think he'd do much better at like Tottenham or something like that. A place where he can build. But I just think there's so many problems with Manchester United that are out of his control that it's just not going to work out. And I think it would be a nightmare for any manager. So I think, what kind of manager would I? I'm asking myself a question: what kind of manager do I think would be successful at Manchester United, given where Manchester United are in what Ineos have said about the financials? I mean, they wouldn't go wrong with Nuno, Spirito Santo at.
Nuno could be a shout, but I think the Nuno situation is good.
We'll get to that.
Topic.
But
that's a separate topic.
We'll get to that. But that then confirms that Manchester United are saying, if we just finish mid-table and we can sort this stuff out, I think you cancel the next 5 to 10 years for Manchester United. You just write it off and you just say it's not about rebuilding the squad; it's about rebuilding the club, the stadium, the training ground, which has all been announced. They've done they're going to upgrade Carrington, their training ground. Stadium's a little bit more up in the air, but they need to really rebuild that club. And it's not about the squad. It is about the squad because the squad is crap. But I think they're just going to have to accept, finishing 8th and 9th is probably as good as they're going to do. So
I mean, finishing for 8th or 9th for them is obviously going to be improvement on the last season anyway. With the signings they've brought in, you would expect that. I think people like Mbuemo and Cunha and Sesko, all these people who can, they've got the ability to win games and score goals. It's not all about having to rely on Bruno anymore. And I imagine he's breathing a huge sigh of relief, saying, his shoulder muscles must be about the width, it must be the width of a fucking shipping container for the way he's essentially carried a team for, let's say, 3 years. I'll be interested. Like, I'm not a United fan, obviously. As an Arsenal fan, dislike Arsenal fans. Some of my best friends are Man United fans, and I think this may be the season where they may start to see some improvement. They've got an all right back line. Maybe 1 or 2 signings in the back line may help. But now they've obviously got firepower up front now. It's not going through
Rasmus Højlund.
It's not going through Rasmus Højlund or Joshua Zirkzee. I mean, Rasmus Højlund, fucking
botch.
Couldn't find he
it's honestly, a botch of a signing.
Bad signing. Honestly, that's what happens when you think just because his name sounds like Haaland doesn't mean he's going to play like Haaland. Good point. Højlund is when your mum says you've got Haaland at home.
Very good. So. Very good. So then the top. So we switch to the top 4 then. Where? I'll lead with this because I think you've got more to say on this.
Yes. So
I've already said Man City to win the league. I think Man City will win it. I think Liverpool will finish 2nd. Arsenal 3rd. And then 4th, I've not really given a great deal of thought about. I think the top 3 is easy. It's going to be some variation of those 3. I still think it'll be Man City who will edge it, but maybe Liverpool might win it. I think Man City and Liverpool are all 3 of them are interchangeable. I don't see Arsenal winning it. That's the only thing I will say. Arsenal will either finish 2nd or 3rd. Man City could finish top, as could Liverpool, but I think it'll be Man City and the only reason I say that is not because I'm not impressed with the Liverpool team and the job they've done in the summer in terms of recruitment and obviously the shit that happened with Jota as well. It's just sad. But I think it's just so difficult to retain that title, and you've got such a target on your back that every team is going to go, shut up shop, beat the league champions.
Yeah.
Let's get 11 men behind the ball, get a draw against the league champions. It's how it is with everyone. When Man City are champions, when Manchester United were champions back in the day, when Chelsea were champions, it always happens. You'll never forget. I know Chelsea weren't champions when Sam Allardyce went. We've out tacticked them, we've outplayed them, but it is like that. It's like, 11 men behind the ball. Everyone's going to want to scalp Liverpool, and that makes it difficult to retain the title. And I just think they might fall short a little bit this season. So I think it might. City, fourth place. I can't place fourth place. I don't know. I guess Chelsea, but it could be Newcastle. But Newcastle have had such a bad window.
Yeah, I think.
And then there's the Isak question as well.
Yeah, I think in terms of top four, I think what I'll do is I'll start off by saying who it's not going to be. It's not going to be United.
No.
I don't think personally it's going to be Newcastle, because even if in a few months' time, if Isak's still there and he's reintegrated into the squad, I think the damage is done. His image is going to be tainted, and obviously that's I don't know if that may affect performance or how much Isak will allow that to affect his performances and his ability to deliver going forward. But he's a phenomenal player, and I think if there's anyone who's got the mental strength to obviously get over it, he does. But obviously, we'll just have to wait and see. I think Newcastle have not recruited in the window. They've got I think in terms of squad depth, they've got good depth in some areas and very weak in others. Same with I think obviously Pep Guardiola. I think in terms of City's chances, I think City, they are very, they've got a very, very good squad, and they've probably got one of the strongest benches, despite the fact Pep's obviously come out and said that he doesn't like managing a big squad, he likes it small. I think they could do with another. I think they could do with another recognised striker, because that they could do with some competition for Haaland, because Haaland when he's on his day, he's good. He's banging them in for fun. But when he's not getting the service, when he's not getting anything, he's a passenger in the games. He had a stinker today. He got a few headers in, and that was about it. I think, yes, you can say Marmoush plays at striker, but I think Haaland needs that little bit of competition just to keep him looking over his shoulder, just so he knows that, all right, yes, he's got that 9.5-year contract that he signed with City.
I wonder if there's an exit clause in that contract.
Yeah, I think they could do with another striker. I think, but someone who can change the game, or someone who can change the dynamic or the style of play. Because Haaland's a really good person to have. He'll bang in goals for fun. Don't get me wrong. But when he goes off the boil, you can take him off, put another striker on, and just change the way in which you're trying to win the game a little bit. So I think my top four are going to be, I'm going to say fourth is Chelsea, because I think, I would say Chelsea have recruited. Whether that's recruited well remains to be seen. But obviously they've got all the foundation. They've got the foundation. They've got the players. They showed the other night that they don't need Cole Palmer to score loads of goals. They don't need him in the team in order to perform well. But again, it was against a very, very shit West Ham team. I think third is going to be Man City. Again, I think they'll improve on that. I think they'll obviously have a step up this season. The new look midfield that they've got with Nico and Reinders and all that sort of stuff. But again, I think they're still going to have that hangover of not having someone like a De Bruyne in there, because Manchester City's midfield, dare I say, is probably now a lot more. Probably a lot more of an endurance midfield rather than technical, because I think Reinders is really, really good. I think against Wolves he was fantastic, but I don't think he offers that same thing of where De Bruyne can pick out Haaland with one pass and it's a goal. Of course I'm biased. I'm going to say second Liverpool, and I think if there was ever going to be a season for Arsenal to win the league, it would have to be this season. So they're going to be my number one because Arsenal have improved in every single area which they were lacking. So they've bought the centre forward. They've just bought Eze, who can break the low block, which most teams employ against Arsenal. They've got that. They've got the depth up front now, where obviously Saka's now going to have probably a spell on the sideline. So they've got someone like a Madueke that can come in, or even a Max Dowman who's shown he can move down that left hand side. I think if Odegaard's out, then you've got Wanyeri to fill it. Worst comes to worst, if Gyökeres gets an injury, obviously Havertz is out injured, but we've also seen that Mikel Merino can do a shift up front when he's not in midfield. Zubamendi, again, I think he's really, really good. I think he's probably the best. I think he's the signing of the summer for me. And then you've got someone like Christian Norgard, who, if Arsenal are 2-0 up or 2-1 up and you need to shut up shop, he's really, really good at, deploying the low block, but he's also an aerial threat in the box as well. I think he's got the most headed goals scored for Brentford in his time there. So I think they've built up from the back. Obviously, Arsenal best defence in the league. They've added depth to that. They've kept Kivior, or it looks like they're going to keep Kivior. They've brought in Mosquera, who I think's, he's a bit of a dark horse in terms of signings. I think he's going to turn out to be really good. If Calafiori can stay fit, he'll keep Skelly on the bench, because I think Calafiori had a really, really good game today and last weekend as well. So I think the pressure absolutely is on Arsenal to make sure that they win the league, because they've spent the money. Because then at what point, if Arsenal finish second or third, the owners will need to go, okay, Mikel, we've given you over £1 billion to spend on the team. Okay, 5 years, no trophy. It's the same story again. We've given you different players. We've given you better players. The only consistency that we can see in things turning out the way they have done is you. Okay, we've spent the money. We brought the players. Adapted the play. The only thing that has been a constant since we started getting there is you. And then I think questions are going to be really, there's going to be some massive questions going to be asked about whether if he's the manager to take Arsenal to the next level. I think they don't have that. They've got fantastic players, but players that probably haven't experienced winning as much. They don't have that winner's mentality. Whereas Liverpool, yes, a lot of their stars are aging a bit. Like Virgil's in his 30s, Salah's 32, 33, I could see in a little bit in Salah where maybe he's not as sharp as he used to be. Like he's not as rapid or anything like that. I think a big miss for Liverpool, as much as they have players like Frimpong and Kirkes, Frimpong is not Alexander Arnold. Liverpool are really, really going to miss his crosses and free kicks, I think. I think Frimpong is an amazing fullback, but he's obviously going to overlap Salah, which, Trent didn't do. Trent would come up to the halfway line and then probably sit in that midfield position and play in a ball from deep. So there's probably going to be a lot more defensive cover for Saka to do on that. It's not Saka, Salah to do on that left hand side. If Frimpong's caught up the pitch in no man's lands, there may be some defensive bits for Salah to do. Liverpool again, defensive depth, not great. Obviously they've sold Jarell Quansah. They've got Ibrahima Konate. They've got Virgil van Dijk. Ibrahima Konate, by the way, I'd like to point out, he had an absolute stinker against Bournemouth. It's like over the summer he somehow managed to unlearn defending. So I think it'll be interesting. I think Liverpool, they've filled in some really, really good spots, but I think, it'll be interesting to see if this season is a bit of a hangover from their success last season, or if they can build on it. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, my top four are going to be Chelsea 4th, City 3rd, Liverpool 2nd, Arsenal 1st.
Aye, there's a surprise.
Yep.
The Arsenal fan predicts Arsenal are going to win.
You've got to manifest it, or it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and yes. Then if they don't win, the same old questions will be asked by the same old kind of people. Your Darren McAntony's on Sky, the Peterborough United owner, and What's the guy's name on Talksport that used to be Crystal Palace owner?
Simon Jordan.
Simon Jordan, who will
both
of them say, because they've already said it this season, Arteta's won nothing. Well, he's won the FA Cup, but they don't really count that, which is very disrespectful to the FA Cup. But he's got to win the league, hasn't he? He's got to win. Well, he's got to win something at the very least.
He's got to. I think it's.
Would you take a cup double? Would you take the League Cup and the FA Cup as a kind of supplement if you didn't win the Premier League?
Yeah, I would. I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, it will silence the doubters about not being able to win a trophy, because they would have done. But then you've shown that you've built a team, you've invested the money, and they can win tournaments. But then it's where do you go from there? I don't think Arsenal can improve more than what they've already done. They've spent the money, they've got the players in. I think then you just need to find out what is the missing piece to stop you go. Like if it was a domestic double, League Cup, FA Cup, I'd be happy. But where do you go from there? You've got all the players and they've managed to deliver you a domestic double, but where's the Champions League? Where's the Premier League? So again, I think it will come down to a question of, is Arteta the right person to do it? But in typical Arsenal fashion, they will wait until they will wait until the house is nothing but ash before they think to themselves, you know what, maybe let's call a fire brigade.
Yeah, don't go to Vegas. Don't go to Vegas because you'll lose all your money and think, I'll just go to the ATM, get more money out. Yeah, bad idea. That's a bad idea. Gambling's for suckers. We're going to have a business chat in a bit about TV rights because there's been some interesting things in that department this year. Before we move to that, because that's going to be our final talking point, probably because it's the most uninteresting for general football fans, but it's fascinating to me because I love that sort of stuff. Nottingham Forest. Okay, there's this insane... Well, Nuno said that he's fallen out with the owner, basically, or his relationship has changed, and for the negative. And then the Nottingham Forest owner comes out and goes, what the fuck are you talking about, basically? And I'm just so confused. So now there is a rumour that Nuno is about to be sacked as a Nottingham Forest manager. And it basically all stems from the fact that he doesn't feel like he's been backed in the transfer market. And he's saying that he wants another right back, another left back, and another goalkeeper. And I think they're mostly cover positions, but still he wants those players and said that he doesn't feel like he's been backed. Although more recently today, Sky reporting that it is unlikely that Nuno Espirito Santo will be sacked because of those comments. But there was that rumor, and then Evangelos Marinakis basically going, why are you saying this? What has driven you to say this? It's a bizarre situation, I think, because this is what Nottingham Forest is the club, or definitely the owner Marinakis. Sources close to him are basically saying that they think Nuno said this because he wants to leave and they want him to get sacked. He wants to get sacked so that he can take the compensation fee and go elsewhere, because the manager's not going to waive millions of pounds in compensation. So he's not going to resign. But and the compensation that Forest would want for him would probably be quite high given the job he's done. So the conspiracy theory is that he's trying to get himself sacked so that he can go to another club, get his £1 million buyout. And I've already said Manchester United. So there you go. What do you make of this? It's a bizarre situation. It's a bizarre scenario.
It's a bizarre scenario because, it's relatively unheard of where, the manager outright questions their relationship with the owner. I think, a lot of places, the vast majority of football clubs since, time immemorial have obviously kept relationships or any, disagreements or, any sort of animosity, have been kept under wraps and tried to deal with in-house. I think obviously Nuno, do I agree with him that he hasn't been backed in the transfer window? Obviously, they've sold Anthony Elanga to Newcastle and obviously made, a decent profit on him. And they've brought in James McAtee from Man City. They've got that Cali Mwendo. I can't remember who they signed him from. I think Nice. So they have gone out and bought players. I think, yes, they do need cover, but I think he's looking at cover in the wrong areas because obviously you got Matt Sells who jointly won the Golden Glove last season. You've got some good fullbacks there. I think he needs another striker. I think if Chris Wood picks up an injury, he's got Taiwo Awoniyi, who to me, I don't think can do it in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's
He's not going to.
Yeah, championship written all over him.
He's top half of the table championship. That's his sort of mark. He's not going to replace the goals that Chris Wood brings. Chris Wood's not the most technical player in the world, but he knows where the back of the net is, and he knows how to use his foot to put the ball there. But it's interesting because obviously Marinakis is obviously not, doesn't agree. Seems to have caught him out of the blue. There was that time after the game last season where Marinakis came onto the pitch and there seemed to be heated words between him and Nuno that a lot of people were trying to draw their own conclusions from. But I think Nuno's probably going to be safe in his job for now. I think airing the dirty washing out in public is never a good way to try and achieve what you want to do. So if Nuno's trying to do this to get himself sacked so he can go elsewhere, I think Marinakis is a businessman, so he's made millions and millions from deals and trying to understand negotiations and things like that, and he's not going to be made a mug of. If he suspects that that's what Nuno's trying to do, then he's not going to do it with him, or he'll find some way to get around it. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, there's still 9 days left in the transfer window. And you and I both know from when we did, a few years ago, we did a deadline day podcast where we were literally watching deals come in as we were live. So I think I think there's still time left in the window. I think if Nuno was ever going to complain about the fact that he hadn't been backed in the window, if we were in October and he had several injuries and the squad depth was lacking, I think that would be the appropriate time for him to, if he ever wanted to make those comments, that would be the time to do it. But there's still time left in the window. They have recruited. I think that what you got to remember is that first season that Nottingham Forest were back in the Premier League, they spent a lot of money.
They did, yeah.
They spent.
They
a lot
threw
of
money at it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think is this Forest's third season in the Premier League now or second?
I think it's
because if that's because we don't know what the PSR situation.
Well, they're in Europe as well, so they it's not just PSR. It's it's FFP and PSR because they've now got to comply with both because of their UEFA.
And obviously, if this is going to be their third season in the Premier League, then one of the things that obviously you've highlighted on this podcast before is the apparent unfairness in PSR rules, in the sense that obviously Premier League clubs can only make a certain loss within a 3-season period, but then that's not reset if you're a Championship club and you come up to the Premier League. That if you come up to the Premier League from the Championship in any of those 3 seasons, you're still held to the Championship standard, which I think is it a £55 million loss they're allowed to make in the Championship?
Yeah,
but it's 105 in the Premier League. But you don't get, it's not 105 for you if in those 3 seasons, let's say season 1 you're in the Championship and the next 2 seasons you're in the Premier League, you don't get an extra 105. You don't get 105 million ability to make a loss. Just by being in the Premier League, you're still held up by that season 1 Championship season.
Yeah, third season, by the way, for Nottingham Forest in the
So he may not be dipping into his pocket because there may be some PSR constraints that he needs to observe. And now that they're in Europe, there's other financial rules that he's got to observe. So we don't know about it because it's not been commented on. But I think the way Nuno's gone about it is not ideal. Personally, I don't think he's trying to get sacked. I think he's trying to.
He's trying to
He's trying to give Marinakis a kick up the ass because, I mean, we'll get to Christmas. Say if Nottingham Forest are doing shit in Europe, second half of the table, Marinakis is going to look like the bad guy because he didn't dip into his pocket. He didn't back the manager. So I don't know if that's what Nuno's game plan is, but it will be interesting to see it develop.
I don't like the idea of like a manager coming out and just going, well, the owner hasn't done anything for us, or my relationship with the owner has gone down. It's like, yeah, but that creates quite a frosty relationship. And by the way, headline: Jose Mourinho linked with the Nottingham Forest job. I don't think that's going to happen. At this rate,
No, I don't.
At this rate, I think they'd be better off trying to use some voodoo magic and try and resurrect Brian Clough. They'd be better off doing that than approaching Jose Mourinho. No offense, Jose. His stock has certainly fallen. Whilst you were chatting, something just popped into my mind because I'm very politically astute. I was thinking, for some reason, what happened to football's equivalent of the Epstein list? The 115 charges from Manchester City. Something that released the list.
The wheels were turning in my head, wondering where you were taking this. And I was thinking, this was not pre-agreed on today's agenda.
No, I just had to Google very quickly, why are these charges taking so long? And apparently, the legal process is taking a long time, says the CEO Richard Masters, despite the costs and complexities involved. There is, quote, "There is no happy alternative to enforcing the rules. It goes by the integrity of the competition. It ultimately gives us value, and that principle shouldn't be defrayed in any way by being too difficult, too complex, or costly." But the hearing was set for September 2024, lasted 10 weeks. 2025, Pep Guardiola said he expected the club would learn the verdict within 1 month. 6 months on, no outcome. Released the 115 charges list. You're still talking about Manchester City? Why? They're losers. Why are you talking about them? Why are you talking about that guy? Yes. Why have we not heard anything?
To call back to another meme, we're going to get GTA 6 before we get the 115 charges read out. We
probably are as well. Yes, we're probably going to get GTA 6 before those 115 charges. Yes.
Honestly, we're going to get GTA 6. William will be on the throne. Fucking
the Epstein list will be released.
Yeah. And by that point, no one will be left alive. Like, the people who cared will not be alive. It'll be 2053. Arsenal is still hunting for a trophy.
Anyway, sorry, that came into my mind. What happened to the 115 charges? And then I was like, oh, yeah. And then suddenly my brain went, yeah, it's football's equivalent of the Epstein list. Oh, goodness me. Right, let's move on. Chat about Newcastle. And a terrible transfer window for them, including one player that wants out, that's probably never going to play for them again. Should they just sell Alexander Isak at this point? Probably. They should have probably done it already instead of waiting till the end of the window, where they're going to be stuck with a player that does not want to be there and probably will not play for them, considering he's already stated that he's played his last game for them, and that Eddie Howe has probably been told, don't use him. Because I guarantee Eddie Howe would be like, I don't care what he says, I'll use him. But the club have probably told him, no, don't use him.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be. I think Isak's burnt his bridges now. I think he's finished at Newcastle. Which is a shame because it's a really good player. It really has been the summer for Swedish strikers going on strike, hasn't it, to try and force a move?
Yeah, it really has.
You had Gyökeres with Sporting, and now you've got Isak doing it with Newcastle. I think if Newcastle were going to sell him, they've left it way too late. You've got 10 days left of the window, and a deal this size is obviously going to take time, and they'll want to make sure everything's done right. But it's really not going to be. There's not going to be enough time for Newcastle to try and sign a player that is anywhere close to the quality of Alexander Isak, because as we've seen, quality strikers in world football at the moment are really, really thin on the ground. I think there's been several major striker moves in the Premier League this season already, like Gyökeres to Arsenal, Sesko to United, Ekitike to Liverpool. So it kind of baffles me, really, because Ekitike looks like a really, really good signing for Liverpool. So I don't understand why you would, because Isak's not going to Liverpool to sit on a bench. I don't understand why you would buy Isak after you've already just dropped about 70, 80 million on Hugo Ekitike, and he's already delivered a couple of goals in his first couple of games with them. So, it as a transfer, it doesn't make any sense to me. If I and this is if I had a crystal ball, and my prediction would be Alexander Isak looks like someone who'd be the ideal purchase for Barcelona once Robin Lewandowski retires, because Robert Lewandowski's 33, so he's he'll probably either retire at Barcelona or he'll probably do a season or two in Saudi and pad his pension.
Yeah, probably.
But
I've got a list. Go on.
Isak came from La Liga from Sociedad, so he looks like he would be the ideal replacement for a retiring Lewandowski. He's a goal scorer. He's good on the ball. He his build up is good. His link up play is really good. So I don't know if the Liverpool transfer doesn't make sense. They've spilled loads of money on a striker. They've already got one of the most lethal attacking forces in world football. So what? I don't see how Liverpool need him. It'll be fantastic for Liverpool if they did, but it just makes no sense. And Isak as well. When he came out with that statement saying when promises are broken or trust is lost, then a relationship can't continue. If you're a player and you've got a contract, trying to rely on, we've already seen what happens when you try and rely on a gentleman's agreement or a handshake under the table. And I just realised how weird that sounds. A handshake under the table makes you.
It really does, doesn't it? It sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those where it's like, unless it's in black and white, don't fucking believe it, mate.
Well, that goes back to who the bloody hell was advising him. Did his agent not put a release clause in his contract? Come on, his advisors and his agent have clearly done him wrong here. They've clearly said, "Oh, kick up a fuss, and they'll let you go."
Yeah.
He should sack his agent. He should sack his agent for not getting a release clause in his contract. Number one, that's easy agenting. And he should probably get rid of his advisors because they've advised him horribly.
Mate, I don't know what his thoughts are on trying to revive Mino Raiola from the dead.
Pretty much, yeah. Failed Newcastle transfers then. Delap, Sesko, Ekitike, Mbuemo, João Pedro, Kudus, Cunha, Gui, and Gay. Trafford as well. And there are a couple more that I can't come to mind. Who's the defender they tried to sign? Was it not a defender? The name will come back to me. But a long list, quite a list of failed signings.
Yeah.
I did find it hilarious that Benjamin Sesko, they were like, yeah, we're going to sign Benjamin Sesko and then we'll let Alexander Isak go.
Yeah.
And then they must have tuned into Sky Sports News and gone, Manchester United have made an offer. And they must have just gone, oh, shit. Yeah, he hang on. He signed for United, but hang on, let me find something. Yes. Hang on, he signed for United, but for which one? Chris Kamara.
I don't know, Jeff.
My name's not Jeff. Yeah, he should have got Chris Kamara to do that. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, Manchester United. Yeah, the contract says United, but it doesn't say Newcastle. It says Manchester. Yeah, yeah. Is it Hugh Jensen? I can't remember. But yeah, a long list.
Do you know what? It's not linked to Newcastle, but do you know who I think's been the absolute terrible signing of the window? The worst signing. The goalkeeper Hermansen to West Ham. Because, oh my God, I've never seen such a shit keeper.
Have I seen such a shit keeper?
I mean, I did see Roy Carroll play once. There's a throwback for you. Fabian Barthez, maybe.
Who was the... Hang on. I'm trying to think now, because I had a conversation with somebody about terrible Swindon Town signings, and there was...
Nicky Hammond was a terrible goalkeeper for Swindon.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of the one that Paolo Di Canio bought in, the before Wes Foderingham. Who was the Italian goalkeeper? Oh, Mattia Lanzano. Played only a couple of games. He was an absolute clown as Brian Clough. I'm going to steal a line from a conversation I had earlier. As Brian Clough would say, that clown at the other end, which might be a reference to Mattia Lanzano. Yeah, not not a great goalkeeper. Yeah, he might just be the worst signing of the summer. You'd never know, but we'll have to look and see if West Ham improve a little bit. I mean, he's not really helped out by his defenders at all, so it's not like anyone in front of him is stopping any. Yeah. They're not really doing the basics there. Right, let's have a boring conversation now about TV rights as we approach the magical hour of 10 o'clock and we say finito, goodbye, bon voyage, and I can't even remember what I was about to say there, but so long, farewell, Wiedersehen, goodbye. Sound of Music reference, there you go. That's what the football fans love, Sound of Music references. I clearly have some kind of autism because that is a weird reference to go to my brain. Let's talk about sports rights. La Liga, which we actually covered in a short on this channel, has gone to Disney Plus. It's a joint deal with Premier Sports as well. Premier Sports ran the La Liga channel, which became a channel broadcaster on Sky and I think Virgin Media as well. But you can't get it on Freesat or anything like that. But Premier Sports used to be on Freesat because they used to be Free Sports, but it's now owned by Viaplay, the Nordic service group of channels. So La Liga have announced a deal with Disney Plus. Speaking of, Ferran Torres has just leveled for Barcelona against Levante, so might as well mention that one whilst we're talking about La Liga. So the House of Mouse is getting involved in football, and this deal is going to run until the end of the 27-28 season. It also is not the only deal that Disney's done this season, because they're going to show the Women's Champions League throughout the season as well, and that's going to last for a couple of years, that deal too. So the House of Mouse getting involved in football. Mickey Mouse, grab your soccer ball.
Yep.
DAZN has bought the rights for Serie A, which used to be on TNT. Now it's going to be behind DAZN. So if you are a National League fan and you pay for DAZN to watch National League games, you're getting Serie A as well. But I don't have DAZN, and I don't really watch Serie A either. So, but it's a set of matches per round, and so it's 2 fixtures per round of matches that DAZN are getting. And yeah, obviously we've got some vested interest as a UK audience. Scott McTominay is one of the best players out there. I never thought I'd say that. Scott McTominay is one of the best players in Serie A.
I don't know, is that a reflection of the quality in the Serie A at the moment?
I don't know.
The fact that Scott McTominay, like, the funny thing is, you've got Scott McTominay, who's viewed as prime De Bruyne in Serie A, is now playing next to actual De Bruyne for Napoli. So
yes.
It's baffling, really.
It's an interesting league. It's the upside down out of Stranger Things. That's what the Italian league is. Everyone that's shit is really good, and everyone that's really good is shit. Yeah, we've got Tomori as well, and Lewis Ferguson to watch out for as well. So yeah, interesting season.
Billy Gilmore too.
Oh yeah, Billy Gilmore as well. He's gone to Serie A as well, but DAZN is going to be the home of much like the Club World Cup and the National League. Didn't watch a single second of the Club World Cup unless it was on Channel 5. And then the Bundesliga, and this is the reason why we're really talking about this, the Bundesliga, which has signed one of, I want to say a bizarre deal, but it's actually a very smart deal that they've signed. So, what's happening with the Bundesliga this season? Because you may have seen some of their matches. The first game of the season, which was last night, Bundesliga, it was Bayern München versus Leipzig, was free on YouTube, on the Bundesliga YouTube channel and on the Overlap channel as well. So this TV deal is bringing the Bundesliga to free-to-air television in the UK. Sky Sports were the existing rights holder. That carries on through the Overlap because the Overlap is a Sky Sports YouTube channel. So that carries on through the overlap. Instead of airing it on their Sky Sports channels, they may also simulcast. I don't know if that's the plan, but they could always simulcast their matches. No harm to it. Sky Sports have moved their stuff to the overlap channel. Mark Goldbridge, the Manchester United streamer, his channel is going to stream some matches, and he's going to do Bundesliga exclusive watch-alongs as well. I don't know if they're on the United We Stand channel. I don't think so, but he'll be doing Bundesliga watch-alongs. And the Bundesliga is tapping into this idea that the future, they're going to accept less money, but they'll probably get more eyeballs. And they've taken the step that a lot of sports aren't taking, where they're like, oh, we don't need eyeballs, we'll get just a shit ton of money. We'll just accept all the rights, all the money for the rights. And it's why we have so much free-to-air sport disappearing, like the Tour de France. It's left ITV. It's going behind a paywall in TNT from next year. We've lost so much free-to-air sport, so it's actually nice that the Bundesliga have gone, actually, no, we need to grow our league. So if we give our games away for free, we might grow them. Not all of them are going to be on for free. The Sunday games, which are normally the main event matches, much like our Super Sunday, Bundesliga does that as well. Those matches are going to be behind a paywall. They're going to be exclusive to Amazon on pay-per-view. So remember Prem Plus back in the day? It's going to be like that a little bit. Bundesliga Plus. Only the Sunday matches, though. Saturday night games, and if they have a lunchtime kickoff, then I don't think they do in the Bundesliga. They normally have... That's normally reserved in Germany for the lower leagues. So the third division, the Zweisliga, normally have a lunchtime game. And today it was my team, 1860 München. So, and they've done 2 of them. So, yeah, good. But the Bundesliga Friday night games are going to be on free-to-air television. In fact, actually, the Friday night games, if they have Friday night games, going to be streamed live on the BBC iPlayer. So if you've got a TV license and you've got the iPlayer, you can stream the Friday night matches for free. And then the Saturday games will either be on the overlap or the Mark Goldridge's United We Stand channel, or that's football channels. So whatever that's football channels are, I don't know the ins and outs of footballing YouTube, I'm afraid. But 20 Friday night games going to be aired on the iPlayer / the overlap / that's football. So some of the games are going to be on YouTube. They'll also be on the Bundesliga YouTube channel, which is what the Bayern Leipzig game was also broadcast on, as well as the overlap. But the Friday games will all be exclusive to the BBC, and then the Saturday games will be split between the overlap and that's football channel. Interesting that the Bundesliga have gone against the proverbial and decided, yeah, what we actually want are eyeballs, not dollar signs. Because Ligue 1 could have done this when their rights deal collapsed a couple of years ago. And then they pissed off Canal Plus, who then went, we're not going to negotiate with you now. And they've never really recovered from that. So they ended up signing a deal with DAZN. So instead of going and taking all of the monies, it's quite fascinating to see that they've gone, we want eyeballs because that's going to make us money in the long run. What do you make of this?
I think it's a really smart move, and to be fair, it's typical of the Bundesliga. A league where the idea that clubs are basically owned by the fans. Such an idea of making that football so readily accessible to I think what they're doing is very clever in terms of trying to not only attract football fans but also the casual viewer as well. Because the casual, I imagine that, with YouTube algorithms, Bundesliga football is probably going to form somewhere at the top of majority of people's feeds. With streaming platforms, you watch it if you're looking for it. YouTube videos, you could scroll for days, happen on something. So I think what they've done is very clever because they're bringing eyeballs who are going to you know, people who are going to watch the games and buy it, and buy a shirt, or maybe as far as traveling abroad, buy a ticket or something like that. So it's really, really good. I think what Serie A and La Liga have done, they've gone for the boatload of cash up front for the deal, which is something that will obviously have to be renegotiated in however many years' time. But the Bundesliga have obviously said, we're not going to take the load of money now, but we're looking to grow. We want to get eyeballs. We want to grow our brand organically. We want to attract not just it's the same with what WWE did with moving their stuff from their own dedicated network to Netflix, because on Netflix they'll be able to attract the more casual viewer, because Netflix is over 300 million subscribers in the they're the largest streaming platform in the world. So making putting your product out there. YouTube has billions of views every year, and having the product that is available there on a platform where the vast majority of the population of the world have access to, where money is no object or obstacle to try and overcome, is a really smart business move. Because there'll be Disney Plus. I think La Liga have probably looked at Disney Plus and went, okay, we're going to be part of this huge corporation that I mean, if you look at La Liga has a huge appeal to like the US audience, the ones that follow soccer, or football, but they call it soccer over there. It's the teams like your Barcelonas and your Real Madrids that are going to be the main attractions to a US audience.
Well, they were talking about doing a regular season game over there.
Exactly.
Didn't they?
So, how long before you start seeing Real Madrid jerseys, Barcelona jerseys, Atletico Madrid jerseys being sold at Disneyland resorts? They've got Disney are the most commercially successful brand in terms of products and merchandise shifted. It's and that's probably given the Liga that platform.
Yeah, I mean, it's not their first foray into sport. I mean, they used to have a NASCAR track at the Orlando resort, so it's not their first foray into sport. And certainly with the ESPN, which they kind of majority own, it's good business. We're starting to see even more of this, because I remember there's a radio DJ called Tim Cocker who does a rugby podcast on YouTube called Egg Chasers, and he ended up buying the rights for the second division of French professional rugby to just stream on his YouTube channel, which must have seemed like a mad decision, but it works. It's going to. I guarantee it's going to work. So I think for Bundesliga to do that is rather fascinating. If only like other organizations would choose to do it, or the Premier League would start their own over the top streaming service instead of selling out to TNT and Sky. Actually, to be fair, I say that, but the only OTT that wouldn't work would be the Premier League, because they earn more in rights deals than they would at the over the top. But then the rights deal they earn from the UK is pretty much, if they did a over the top streaming service around the world, they'd probably end up making more money. But I'm surprised none of the major leagues have done it. I'm surprised Serie A never did it. I'm surprised Ligue 1 had the opportunity to do it and they didn't do it. La Liga hasn't done it. Maybe that's what next for the Bundesliga. You never know.
Yeah, but I would say the Bundesliga and Serie A are probably the most top watched leagues in the world after the Premier League. Like the Premier League is the most watched league in the world.
Yeah, I don't league rankings in terms of viewers. I know the Premier League is always top. It used to be La Liga, but I think they've dipped. Worth a Google quickly, or Yahoo, or ask Jeeves.
Yeah, so
because I know the Championship is the most watched second tier in the world, and it's one of the top 5 European leagues in terms of viewing figures, or it was a couple of seasons ago.
So the Bundesliga is actually 4th behind Serie A. So obviously the Premier League's the most watched, La Liga 2nd, Serie A 3rd, and the Bundesliga 4th. But I think the appeal of the Bundesliga, I mean, one of the things you can say about the Bundesliga, even if you're the tiniest minnow of a club, Bundesliga teams do not have empty stadiums.
Yeah, I'm just looking at how are they ranking these? Is this I don't know if this is ratings, but Premier League, Serie A, Spanish La Liga, German Bundesliga, Liga, and then the Championship is like the 6th best league, ahead of the Portuguese league and the Belgian Pro League as well, and the Dutch Eredivisie as well. So
I think me and you need to head abroad to Sweden and catch an Elite Syrian game. No, Sweden. No, Sweden's the Allsvenskan.
Yeah.
Elite Syrian is it Finland or Denmark?
That's a good question.
I mean,
no. Yes, actually, no. I would go see that league because you're talking about Norway, and that's where Vålerenga play, and I like Vålerenga. There we go.
Unless you fancy a trip up to the Arctic Circle and go watch Bodo Glimt.
Or are they the only team they're top of the league at the moment, aren't they? Bodo Glimt.
Yeah. I think they're also they're the northernmost team in the leagues in Europe, I think.
I'm sure somebody in Iceland has something else to say about that, but yes. Yeah. Because you got Rosenborg that used to be. Remember back in the day when Rosenborg used to be in the Champions League? Those were the days. Early 2000s, Celtic and Rangers always used to qualify. Panathinaikos, Olympiakos, Rosenborg.
Panathinaikos, that's a throwback team, absolutely. Panathinaikos back in the day.
I always used to enjoy watching their kits. I like their kits used to be amazing. Let's sign off because we're running over, as we always used to do. With transfer rumours, El Ittihad want to sign Manchester United's Bruno Fernandes and have already held talks with the 30-year-old Portuguese midfielder's representative. That's according to The Sun. And if you're thinking, hang on, wasn't that the case like 6 months ago? It was, but this is from 7 minutes ago, this article. So there you go. Tottenham are set to hijack Crystal Palace's attempts to sign Moroccan midfielder, and I'm going to fucking hate myself for this one, Bilal Al-Khanous from Leicester City after missing out on Eze. So there we go. Wait till Arsenal turn up at the last minute with like a Money in the Bank contract and go, we're signing him instead. That'd be quite funny. Or somebody else just snipe the deal. But it looks like Tottenham are maybe sniping Crystal Palace here instead. Napoli could complete a deal for Manchester United's Rasmus Højlund by Monday as they seek a quick replacement for the injured Belgian forward Romelu Lukaku. And, of course, Rasmus Højlund, 10 years younger than Lukaku as well. Atalanta, they are set to rival the bids of both West Ham and Nottingham Forest in the race to sign Monaco's 21-year-old French under-21 international. And, oh boy, here we go, Songaguto Magassa. So that's where we're
Bless
at.
You.
And West Ham are interested in the 29-year-old Italian midfielder Lorenzo Pellegrini as well, who has been stripped of the Roman captaincy. Borussia Dortmund are closing in on 2 Chelsea players with the English forward Kane Chukwuemeka. Oh God,
Chukwuemeka.
I still can't say it. Having agreed a permanent move, £21.7 million apparently is the reported 25 million euros, and the 20-year-old Argentine defender Aaron Anselmino, that's what I'm going with, will move on loan. Roma want to sign Greek fullback Kostas Tsimikas on loan from Liverpool. Real Betis are trying to sign Anthony from Manchester United. Como have turned down Tottenham's latest offer, 45 million for Argentinian midfielder Nico Paz. And Championship side Derby County have reached an agreement with Sturm Graz of Austria to sign 21-year-old Scottish right back Max Johnson. Now that is a name I can pronounce. That is done and dusted. Those are the transfer rumours. See you next week. Bye-bye. We're going. See ya. Got the virtual camera there. There we go. We're not on air.
That's all right.